Let's talk for a minute about values and beliefs and how that affects your ability to have a difficult conversation. You've probably heard me say many times over the years, all behaviors are driven by attitudes and beliefs. Mm-hmm. So if you don't get in touch with the attitudes and beliefs, you can't change your behaviors. So tell me, what are some of your beliefs that you carry around that stop you from having effective, difficult conversations?
I need to be uninterrupted when I'm speaking to be heard.
Ah, that's a good one. What about, I'm a nice person and I don't want to hurt people's feelings?
Oh, why did you have to bring that up? Yes, I am a nice person. I need to care for everyone, and I need to fix all of the problems in order to be a good person.
What's the belief? I see one coming out of you.
Well, I just think that people tell you your whole life, oh, this is Molly, this is the way she is. And then you're like, well, this is how I was in my last job, this is how I was at college, this is how I was in high school. And then, as we are saying, when you come to Suzuki, different things in your personality might change, and the way that you are in this type of environment might be different. Yeah. So then you don't want to meet someone here and then go out to dinner with someone from your past experience and they say, oh, don't you love this about Molly? And then that's not even
who you are
even there anymore,
right.
You know? And so then the belief system that other people have about you is completely shattered and completely gone. You have to rebuild that.
That's a good thing though, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But when you go into a difficult conversation in level 1, what's a belief you have that could hold you back?
That maybe for me, probably for me, I think is like, I know all the background of infant development and how it's supposed to look, and that the conversations of certain things getting done in the classroom developmentally for the children practically will look different than it does in a book, and that holds me back a lot, I think, from having the conversations and seeing all of the developmental things in practice in the classroom.
Right.
And that gets me in trouble a lot, because for me before, knowing the developmental things in a book and going to a child's bedside in the hospital and doing it and getting it done in 30 minutes and then leaving, you felt really good and really productive about yourself. But when you have to stay in a room with the child all day and practice the things you learned in a book in that way, it's completely different.
Right. Yeah. Like your professors who've never been in a classroom before telling you how you should learn.
Right.
Yeah.
What's a feeling you have?
Well, you're not here. This is going to be interesting for you, because I'm just now realizing this. I have a great respect for your intelligence and Robert's as well.
Yeah.
Their intelligence, their drive, and their prior work experience in the business world. So I have found myself, and I have been told how bossy I am, which I fully own. It is true. But what has happened is that those two things coupled, my great respect for their business acumen and what they do in the world, because I'm not only a teacher, I have only taught. I haven't done some of the things they've done, have caused me not to push my thoughts or my wishes or what I feel needs to be happening to the school. I haven't pushed those forward because of the respect and because of the belief system that Deborah's bossy and she just tells people what to do. Now I'm realizing I'm going to have to find a way to do this, because I do have knowledge that Robert and Paula don't have. And why would they? But that knowledge is vital to how the school needs to be run and how the children need to be taught. So, I think it's a little bit different of a take. But for a long time, in some matters, not all, I sort of took a back seat thinking, well, they may know better. And you know how you are, so shut up.
And a lot of teachers do that, especially the newly hired teachers. They figure the veteran teachers know so much. Let me just sit back.
Oh, and that's such a shame.
Yes.
Well, that happened in our program. We had a new teacher come in. She had, she brought some baggage from other prior experiences, but she had a skill set that was desperately needed in the room. And because she placed those veteran teachers on a pedestal and expected that everything that they said was gospel. And then when she realized that that really wasn't the case, and then she felt like, oh my God, the blind are leading the blind in here because they really don't know what's going on. You know that too. They don't know what's going on, and now the program director's coming in and saying, oh, what about this and this and this and this, and so she's getting all this conflicting messages.
Right.
And then, she was just like, oh my God, what am I doing here? What is this?
Right.
And it was very sad because at the end of the day, her needs were not getting met.
Well, worse than that. The ability and the talent and the insight she had were going nowhere.
We're going nowhere. Exactly.
And she wasn't adding to what we can do.
And the sad part about it is she had what she needed.
Right.
Wow.
And at the end of the day, now being in there and really being in there and watching, it's a damn shame that we're losing this person because she's exactly what we needed in that room. And she knows the pulse of everything that's going on in there. But she was shut down.
So there's so many feelings that can go on, belief systems that can go on.
Yeah.
Probably the other one we haven't touched on. How often are you in a difficult conversation and you have to win?
Oh, yeah.
Right, because that can really get in the way of a difficult conversation, is
Well,
the need to win.
It does. It really does because it shuts other people down. And they may and they while there's so much experience, like you talk about your experience and you have invaluable experience, but sometimes with that experience coupled with the way that our school has changed, that we have to look at things differently. We can look at what we had historically, but it may not apply anymore. So there's a lot of give and take that has to happen. And when you get locked in on this, and I've had teachers get locked in. I got to win this one. I got to get, and it stops the conversation dead.
But looking at your beliefs and values, first of all, acknowledging them and recognizing them, then you can begin to have the conversations. Like Deborah and I have had this conversation where I've said, I really have a belief that I need to be uninterrupted in order to be heard. And saying that up front, Deborah can recognize that and say, okay, I am going to
give that to you.
exactly.
As long as you don't exceed.
I was gonna say, I'll bite my lip.
Exactly. As long as I possibly can.
Yeah. You're gonna have to give a little too.
Exactly. And I recognize that about myself now. And I know that if you do speak while I'm finishing a sentence, it's not that you're not listening to me. We're conversing. But we had that conversation about my belief system,
Right.
and we could
So
work
now
through
it's
that because
out
of it.
there.
She's doing that right now.
But that's a good
It was
point. But that's a good point, and that's one thing I have to give you is that you recognize about yourself. Some people don't. Listening to you talk right now, I would have to say I will agree with you. I have a belief that at least let me get it out. Let me get it out on the table. You may not agree with me, but at least let me finish my sentence so I don't lose my train of thought.
Oh, Robert's terrible about that. His train of thought.
But I think it's important to do that because then at least we've got it out and then we can pick it apart, but at least let me get it out. And I've had that in team meetings too. Let me finish and then you can finish and then we can start putting it together.
Okay, thank you.